Alright, here we go, folks. Well, as you could see in the last video, I did an update. Well, since then, we had an issue. Finally got it running. Hadn't put the downpipes on yet. Almost got ready to do that. And I blew a base gasket. It's this little piece of metal with like rubber coating on it. That is a base gasket, and as you can see, I just have a siphon pump in there right now, and I have the actual cylinder wall and head still attached because for the longest time I thought it was just leaking through the head. So what I'll do is I'll fill the cavity up with water and see if I can see liquid coming through down in there, and then I will be replacing the reeds and the reed housing because I'm missing a screw here, and it's probably time to change them since it hasn't run in 11 years and it is an 89. So it is old and it does need to be changed. So I hope you can see right there, that is quite a bit of coolant in that crankcase. Now, people are going to say, oh, I should probably take the crankcase apart and replace all the bearings. But, as you could see right in that little slit right there, those are the bearings. And, you know, make sure you're not having, like, wiggle it back and forth and you're not having much play. The play that you hear is actually just in the piston. But that's about it. Now I'm about to pump all this out. Yeah, as you can tell, that was just about stuffed. Alright, well, obviously, we now have that cylinder just about taken care of. There's not a lot still in there, so what I'm going to do is I'm going to fill this cavity up with oil. Yes, I said oil. People are going to probably get butt hurt and all that. Well, let them get butt hurt, because you know what? It's going to oil those bearings, and it's not going to keep water in there. It'll get since coolant floats on oil, it's going to rise up, and that's what's going to happen. And then I hope you can see right in here, there's a hole, there's a little tiny hole right there. That is to oil your bearings on each side. So I'll get a little squirt bottle, probably a dripper bottle, and squirt some oil right in there. That should help take care of most of it. And then I got to get off that cylinder, and then I'll get back to you when I actually do that and see how much was in that side. So I finally got the second jug off to the other cylinder. We got most of it out, as you can see. Now, I really want to see what this one's like. Oh yeah, well, that's actually not as bad. I actually see more oil on this side, which is good, which means it's not going to do as much damage since there's already oil in it. So it looks like we will be taking that out right there, and then we should be I mean, I'll be getting a new base gasket set, and then new reeds, and I'll make a video explaining the reeds more when it actually comes time to do that. I'll explain the process of changing them and mainly what they're used for. But yeah, as you can see, that side's not completely terrible like this side was. That's mainly because inside, between the two of these, there is a seal that seals it off. So this side was leaking as well, but not as bad as this side. I'm not exactly sure why this side was leaking. Maybe it was because of a bad base gasket. Maybe if I pull this one off, I can show you guys maybe if I can tell whether or not it's where it started leaking. If not, well, then just know that I have a feeling the base gasket was the major cause of it leaking, and because I don't know why else it would leak like that and that heavily in such an area, considering that the coolant goes through the jug and down into here to kind of get out of there, and then there's like a little crack in there where you still see coolant, and that circulates through the crankcase to cool the actual motor. So if it wasn't leaking through here, then it'd be leaking through the head, but then you would notice coolant on the top of the piston, and then you could usually get that out and then figure out where it needed to be fixed. But this is the base gasket. Yeah, just as I suspected, right there where the coolant usually flows. That base gasket might have gotten hot, I don't know. But as you can see, there's no rubber like there is on the other side, how it was. And even if I flipped it like this, there'd still be that little gap there for liquid to fill up. Now this isn't like it rushed in over time. If it was running, you know, there's always pulsation in the crankcase, and that probably drew a slight suction, and then when I stopped the motor, it just kept like a siphon and just kept going. But that probably means I should probably check the other side, due to this side being bad, and knowing that the other side has liquid in the crankcase, then that's just proof that I should go and check it. So all I'm doing is just rotating the piston down so it's easier to get this gasket up and off, and kind of doing this one-handed because I'm holding the camera with the other hand. But I am doing my best. It is kind of cold out, and I have liquid on my hands, so my hands are kind of cold. But other than that, let me get this off. And taking it off is not going to obviously damage it to the point where I can't see where it is leaking. But it is a thin piece of like sheet metal. I'm not exactly sure what the metal's made out of, but I know it's almost like plasti dipped coated. So this is it. I see just a little bit of metal shining through there. I hope that focuses in. But other than that, this looks pretty. Oh yeah, right there, there is some splittage in the gasket. That's not good, which means it was leaking like right here, which I highly doubt that it was leaking right there. I think it was leaking on this side, due to where I see, oh yeah, there's more damage than what I actually thought. So this base gasket is shot. As you can see, it's just a thin piece of metal right there. And it's not that hard. These aren't expensive. They're probably anywhere from 15 to 20 bucks a piece. Then again, that's not terrible. But it is when, let's say you have a triple, that's 60 bucks just in base gaskets if they are 20 bucks. I haven't looked them up yet, but the head seals were 20 bucks a piece, so I figured that these would probably be 20 bucks a piece. But my pistons are pretty clean. There is just a little bit of scoring on the piston itself, but I can't like feel where it's like really bad. Then again, that's just gonna happen from normal wear and tear. It is an 89, so it does have a lot more miles on it. Well, I shouldn't say a lot more miles, but it has more use than the newer sleds. My 87 Cheetah only has 3,000 or 4,000 miles on it, and this one has 3,000 miles on it. And as you can see, the other piston, you know, has normal wear and tear, nothing that is going to hurt the motor. And if it's really that big of a deal, then I'll check the jugs. Other than that, stay tuned until we get, or actually no, I'm going to end the video here, and then when I get the seals, I will make another video on that. So thank you for watching, and please subscribe and like this video, and stay tuned for more content.